आने वाले वक्त में एक ऐसा लैंड क्राइसिस आएगा कि हमारे पास 2 तोला सोना तो होगा, लेकिन 2 मुट्ठी अनाज नहीं और सुकून।
हमारी दुनिया कंक्रीट का एक पिंजरा, न खुली जमीन न खुला आसमान। घर से बाहर निकलो तो आपाधापी, शोर शराबा, और घर लौटो तो बस दरो दीवार और छत। आंगन में नीम हो और नीम पे चिड़ियों का मचान हो, और घर के छत पे सजा सितारों का आसमान हो। काश एक अपना ऐसा जहान हो।
Ghar factor I feel happens only in a second home. A second home, the moment you're walking away, you're already cut off from the routine. So you're going there for your peace of mind. Break from your routine is where your brain actually tries to find solutions, tries to come up with new ideas. Steve Jobs to Mark Zuckerberg visited India, and there must have been some reason that they needed to come here and experience that place and then go back and achieve phenomenal things in their life.
Other than the investment for lifestyle, why should one prefer land over flat?
You will find at a much lesser price compared to a flat in a city. I think the construction, the building is a depreciating asset.
Absolutely.
The land is what is appreciating even in the flats. The land is going to give you exponential returns. It gives you a property that you can rent out and get earn from Airbnb and actually use that money to travel around the world. So if you're buying a car, which is a depreciating asset, you don't think twice about taking it on EMIs. Whereas if you're buying a plot, which is an appreciating asset, which is going to give you phenomenal returns in years, why can't you look at the EMI as an SIP?
Karan, welcome to the next page. Let's start with the first question, the big picture question. In a world where young people feel locked out of property ownership, is the dream of second home officially dead, or did you find a secret door for it somewhere?
So first of all, thanks Sneha to have me here. And so I think it's a very simple question of I think real estate never dies. Any form of real estate is always there's cycles to it. There's a demand and supply gaps and all of those things. But I think especially when you put it like that, is the dream of a second home over? I don't think that can be over anytime, because we're speaking of a dream about lifestyle, about something that every person eventually feels a sense of belonging to, a sense of need that I want to go out of. I need space for expressing myself. So I don't think the dream of owning a second home will ever die. Every person wants to leave behind a legacy. That's what I personally feel. And owning a land, building your dream home, and having something that goes from one generation to another, that's essentially what this whole, the way I look at it, that's the whole dream of second home.
I love the idea that you said that the legacy everybody wants to leave behind, and second home kind of for especially for working class people is a legacy, is a luxury to show it to their family or to even for their kids. But you entered a business which is already quite established as a real estate market, right? There are developers who are already in the picture. Even the big players like Lodha and everybody have come up, they're already in the second home business now. How did you carve your space to this competitive market which was already existing?
So, to be very honest, we never planned to do this. There's one of my co-founders' father used to say something about, there was a very funny line he said, when you buy a flat, na zameen aapki hai, na chhat aapka hai. And that stayed with us because we were initially working into, flats and residential apartments only. But over the years, this simple line, it actually became the kind of fundamental principle behind what we have been doing today. That when you're investing in real estate, neither you own the land nor you own the roof when you're buying a flat in the city. You're just owning a share of a certain complex. Whereas when you're looking at buying land plot, you have ownership of it. And, like you rightly mentioned, there are bigger brands into this, in this space. But what we wanted to do was, or rather what we found a gap here was, traditionally, there are a lot of people who are selling it in the very traditional manner कि आप, you come to the site, आप plot देखिए, हम यहाँ पे कुछ बनाने वाले हैं, कुछ बनने वाला है, या either they'll just sell कि this is the location, इसके basis पे खरीद लीजिए. There's a lot of, traditionally there was lack of transparency, documentation, particularly when we speak of land. There's little awareness. In fact, I don't think many people understand land. Even today, I've met people in the age of 40, 45 who've spent, they bought 2, 3 apartments of properties in their lifetime. When it comes to land, they don't know the basic documentation as well. So I think that was one big gap that we identified that we wanted to fill in. And secondly, brands like Lodha and Godrej and all, while they're dealing into masses, I feel there's one small thing that has been missing out that we wanted to fill in was actually the connect with the land. So we've seen some brands go completely offline, while some are going online with bigger brands are going with online selling of land or plots. Whereas what we are trying to do is mix a hybrid model where, primarily because we are dealing into land and plots which are on the periphery of cities, which are the future of these cities. It's very difficult for a person to just walk in and have a look at the land. So first thing we do is connect with people online. We try to give them a complete virtual presentation and give a complete idea as to what they can expect from this kind of the lands that we are dealing into. And then we invite all of such people who have been connected through us on virtual presentations. We invite them over on a single day. So what it does is, what we're trying to do rather is not just do a transaction between a buyer and a seller, but rather create an experience of actually, looking at a second home. Because I also believe that it's not just the home or a land that you're buying. When we speak of second home, community living matters a lot because you're going to be away from the city. You already are going to be, when we speak of land, on an acre of land, you can, in the best case scenario, you can have 24 to 25 houses, gated community with, the roads and amenities and infrastructure in place. Whereas in that same size of land in a city, you can have 100 houses. So, when the density is low, it is very important that you understand who are your neighbors, what kind of people are going to be there. Is there a community interested in this? And that's the whole thing that we're trying to build. We invite people on an experience-based open house event on a single day. And that mix of online, offline is how we've really been able to achieve a, differentiator for ourselves.
As your business is just 6 years old, right?
Yeah.
Again, going back to the idea, since the competitors were well established and brand name, business is all about trust and credibility.
Yeah.
And what I understand that you have already cracked the code. So I would love to understand, how did you crack that? Because for any sales to happen, the trust and credibility, or you say the authority figure needs to be there in place. How did you crack that?
So I think the biggest factor to build trust is transparency. I think without having transparency in your intentions, in the way you conduct your business, trust cannot be built. Especially when we are speaking of investment into real estate, it's a business that has traditionally been looked upon, where there are a lot of gray areas. There's a lot of shady deals that have happened in the past.
Right.
So what we've tried to do, first of all, when we began, first of all of us, like the core team, we co-founders, we went into understanding the, what are the legal aspects of land. All of us are civil engineers, and then I've done my master's in finance. So we went into understanding what are the factors that grow, or, what are the factors that actually help in the appreciation of land in different areas. So we realized that infrastructure boost is one very significant factor. We realized that, the terrain of the land, many factors. So technical, legal, we try to understand this whole industry from all the aspects that are necessary before we even started selling it. So that was, I think, a very big factor when we started to approach customers. We used to be very, very transparent. Whenever, today we as a company, we never tried to be a very sales oriented firm. Our primary focus has always been on building relationships. There are customers I know who have been in interaction with us for more than 2 years, who haven't bought with us yet. बट दिवाली के दिन सामने से फोन आ जाता है, कैसे हो, कैसे चल रहा है, कुछ नया ऑप्शन है तो बताइए. बिकॉज आई थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यू अंडरस्टैंड पीपल for people, second home is not a need. It is not something that they actually, feel कि मुझे बहुत जरूरत है अभी तुरंत खरीदना है. It is a want that is good to have, and it's very important when we discuss that. When we're looking at wants, you have to be very comfortable, you have to be peaceful, you have to feel that this is what I wanted, this is the place where I want to be. So we have taken our time with customers. We've really tried to build relationships, and that's how when you build relation, automatically the trust follows with it.
Right, right. So, and I believe that no sales happen without, trust and relationship, because it's human tendency, and psychologically it is said that if you really like the person, you will blindly follow that person to buy something. You don't even then go into the datas and other aspects of buying things.
Yeah.
So I think, and in advertising, it is said that you don't sell product, you sell emotions.
Exactly.
So, but I'm very curious to know, when you entered this business, did this business, like for you and for your co-founders, did it start with a need to have a home, a second home?
Yeah, it's a funny story actually. It wasn't exactly that a need to have a second home. Like I said, we were already into real estate. We were selling, traditional real estate, residential apartments and flats and commercial properties in cities. And it was just around COVID when I was on a road trip, where I was driving all along the Konkan belt, and I was there for 7 days. Stayed at some of the, I think one of the most beautiful houses that I've ever stayed on was during that trip. And that was a personal thing that I felt that someone who bought this property, I don't know what he must have thought when he bought this land, but the kind of home that he has made, it is something that, for generations to come, his family is going to cherish that. They're going to, have memories built over it. And I think that's when it hit me that, this is an industry, this is a space where there are very few people who are doing work professionally. There's this, every person has an aspiration or wants to, make a place that is not just a property, but something like there's a difference. I say ghar or home. Rather, when you buy a home or a flat, it's just a transaction, it's a property. But घर वो होता है जिसमें हम कुछ, अपनी खुद की memories होती है, emotions होते हैं.
Feelings, yeah.
So that घर factor I feel happens only in a second home, because genuinely हम लोग city का जो घर है हमारा, यहाँ पे तो जब घर पे भी आएंगे काम से तो stress होता है कुछ ना कुछ, you rarely get to relax in your home. But when you're going in your second home, you've already put aside everything. You're literally there just to relax, unwind. I've met
Just
people.
to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I've met people who made their houses and there is a small workshop. So I know a lady who made a very beautiful small farmhouse with a very big workshop where she does pottery. And she was, I think, around already, she was 60 when she bought this, and she was like, hey, I wish I'd done this a lot earlier, because this is one thing I'm actually loving doing right now. So pottery for her was something she started in her 60s. And today I know her because she's selling her, she makes these potteries and she sells them. And she's actually doing a very beautiful, she's enjoying her life, I think that. And that's when I feel it's very important that this kind of properties, they're not just investment in monetary terms, but I think it's also something that gives you a genuine peace of mind.
Why is it that, of course, we know it's a city life, but as we were talking before, you mentioned about that expression. Home is a place where a child needs to express, we need to express. Why this idea of second home? Why this can't be the first home?
Because I just mentioned, right, in the first home, see, let's look at a small family of 3 people. The husband and wife, today though in metro cities, both of them are working, right? We barely see that only one of the spouse is working. Both of them are working, the kid is in a school, all of them are rushing in the morning, everyone is, trying to just be at their respective workplaces or schools or whatever. Once they come back from that, you have, the kids are out there for, again, tuitions, classes, or whatever they have some sports activities. Families, husband, wives, they themselves reach home late in the night after all the traffic and all. So you barely have time for each other. You barely have time for yourself, I would rather say. And in that, you can, I like you said, I don't really see the time factor working for you in the city. No matter, even if you make 1, 2, 3 apartments here, that is not going to give you the option of actually cutting away from your, the regular day-to-day routine. A second home, the moment you're walking away, you're already cut off from the routine. So you're going there for your peace of mind. That's I think the only reason why I'm very much, I strongly suggest everyone that once in your life you should actually invest and own at least one small piece of land away from the city. And when you do that, when you actually start to go there and realize, when you, like you mentioned before the start of podcast, once you go and stay there for a couple of days, you start to feel ki, yaar, this is what I want more in my life.
Yeah. And I think the productivity, creativity actually increases more.
So that's the science that, when your brain is not occupied, occupied with day-to-day work, it will automatically find things to do.
Absolutely.
And that's when creative ideas come out.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is also a theory which is called as Robert Dilt's theory, and one of the factor in making what you are is the environment.
Yeah.
So if you want to achieve anything, you just have to change your environment, whether it's peace, whether it's productivity, or even if you want to become, what do you call, an author or writer or a leader. Why do people take break and go to such
I was
places?
just about to say, right from Steve Jobs to, Mark Zuckerberg, they visited India, and there must have been some reason that they needed to come here and, experience that place and then go back and achieve phenomenal things in their life. Is because I think that break from your routine is where your brain actually tries to find solutions, tries to come up with new ideas, and I think creativity is there in every person. You just need to be in the right environment to let it come out.
Absolutely, I agree. So now going back to the next question, Karan, when you started, this luxury real estate, before we speak about the prop tech part of it, tell us what was the core problem you saw, in how people were investing in real estate, and how did that shape the idea behind the decor spaces?
So, I think what we saw was a lot of people were investing in, when they already owned a flat, they were looking to invest in another flat because there was very limited, there are very limited options when it comes to investing in land. And even when there's very little education about it. And I think a person traditionally fears from investing in something where there's lack of education. Because if I want to invest in, for example, in the share market, I would first want to understand what kind of shares I'm buying, what are the returns that I can expect, what is the liquidity, many aspects that go behind it. Similarly, a lot of people used to shy away from investing in land and plots. That's what we took away from our study because of the lack of awareness of what options are there, how secure these options are, what are the factors that can actually give you better returns from it, how you can utilize these kind of investments. So there are many things we studied, and what people were missing is that when you invest in a flat, you are actually not even covering the EMIs that you're going to pay on it because the rental yields are too low. The appreciation was way too low. And, in terms of liquidity is as good as investing in any other asset. It's the worst in that sense because of the huge supply and very limited demand. So we realized that, if we could come up with a solution where we can present land as a packaged deal, gated communities with good infrastructure, with good facilities, with promising upsides to it over the years, in locations that have promises in terms of, it can work as an investment in monetary sense as well as an investment in lifestyle sense. That is what we tried to identify, and that's what we came up with.
Okay. When we talk about millennials, what we say that nearly 70% of millennials feel priced out of home ownership.
Yeah.
And because the system was in a way built like that and we couldn't do anything about it, right? We always thought that second home is far-fetched dream.
True.
पहला घर तो हो जाए, ढंग से तो हो जाए, and the kind of infrastructure, especially, I come from Bombay, but we look across today, even metro cities like Bangalore, it gets getting difficult day by day.
Yeah.
So, with that mindset, you have said before in our conversation also that investing in land is a different ball game altogether. When off record we were talking, what makes this so different and what kind of a mindset does it really take to have it?
So I think it is primarily to do with the fact that people have to look at it from the way a land is being used. So when we speak of buying a plotted development like a plot, you can actually think of it from end use, build a house, go there on weekends. You can think of it from short-term rentals like Airbnbs, and there are so many platforms today who operate on a weekend holiday rentals, especially cities like Mumbai and all of this, Bangalore and Pune you mentioned. On every weekend. Just yesterday while we were coming to Mumbai from Pune, I saw the entire Ghat section was stuck with traffic because apparently there was some rain and everybody in Mumbai wanted to be in Lonavala. That's what happens. I mean, long weekends, Christmas, Diwali, whenever there are 3 or 4 days of vacation, whenever there's good weather, city people just want to go out of the city and live at a
Right.
place where you can actually enjoy that weather.
Right.
And this is backed by data when we say that, because CEO of Airbnb, he mentioned that, India is a very big market for them. It has been growing 50% year on year since last 3-4 years, especially after COVID. This has happened. We've seen phenomenal. I mean, so before COVID, we used to sell 4 to 5 plots a month. That number has gone to, so today we have sold more than 500. We have catered to more than 500 customers in last 5 years, and that has happened because people have understood that land is one such thing that grows exponentially if you bought it at the right time and held for the proper time. So that mentality has to be there, that you're not, it's like playing test cricket. Or if you look at the career of Virat Kohli, or just yesterday I read this, so I would like to mention Rohit Sharma is now world number 1 ODI batsman.
Yes.
He's done that at the age of 38. I'm sure he must have started playing cricket at the age of 8.
When so many people doubted at him, and he made it.
So, I mean, 30 plus years someone has spent his life, and that's when he's achieved that feat. It takes a lot of time and patience to, consistently keep doing it and wait for achieving that dream. And I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to land. If you see people who've made phenomenal returns, there have always been people who bought it long before anybody saw that opportunity, invested in it, and then waited for it for the right time to really make the returns out of it. That's the basic. I would say that's the biggest differentiator from any other form of investment and land, is that if you look at it from 3 years, 5 years time frame, you would not see much of a spike in your returns or in terms of the usability of it. But 15, 20 years, and you will see that suddenly this land is amongst, the best of locations, the best of infrastructure, because cities keep growing. It's not going to happen ever that, suddenly Mumbai city or Pune city has stopped its, the growth. It is a city that will keep growing. And someday or other, the city is going to reach to that location where you bought your piece of land. If you wait for that right time, your returns are going to be phenomenally high.
I think I read this somewhere yesterday that the clarity of vision is something leads to you taking that risk and doing the first step.
Precisely.
Yeah. So it's not about the always, what others are doing, we need to do it. Maybe that the ability to choose the right plot at the right time, and having that, when everybody is against it, but you feel that this is going to be right.
Exactly.
That takes you. And I agree to this because I invested in a property 2 years back. It's double the cost today. And it's just 1.5 hour away from Bombay for me.
Same. I myself have bought a piece of land on the periphery of a set of Pune city. Back then, even my own family was questioning me, why are you even buying there? Why are we, we're not going to go and live there. It's so out from the city. It's just 3 years now, 4 years now. And, we are building our house there. We're planning to move there because in 4 years, the city has reached there. And in fact, the city has reached there in a way where there's malls just, I step outside of the project and there's a mall right opposite to it.
Wow.
So it has become a very prime destination because I think I knew what I was getting into. Probably because of being in that industry, I have that knowledge and, I have that understanding of where the city is heading. Unfortunately, most of the people or most of the customers that we deal with do not have that. And that's where we come in and we try to give that understanding. We try to explain what, infrastructure factors are happening in a particular region, which regions or which, micro markets to look out for, where you can expect not only good returns on your investment, but also maybe explore a possibility of, building a house and moving there for your retirement.
So, like we were speaking earlier about, the marketing and selling part of any product is not just about the product, it's the experience that you create, right? You created an experience of a dream home. How did you do that differently, in a way that you were doing what you were doing before?
So, like I said, we essentially we wanted to get people together. We wanted to build communities. We never wanted to just sell plots or, like there are many other people in this space whose core intention is, get some 15, 20, 30, 100 acres of land, fragment it into piece of plots, sell it and move out.
Yes.
But that's something I never was of the opinion. Our goal was not to just, be into transactions. It was into building communities, building active communities. And that's what we've been trying to do from day one. We've we've tried to reach out to people who want to not just invest a plot, but actually want to build a house, maybe 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line. But someday they see themselves coming there and living and experiencing that place. So that's the primary difference between the kind of people that we deal with. And secondly, that's why we invite people over together for the open house events, because many a times I've seen people have this notion that, ठीक है चलो आज एक land खरीद लेते हैं. Eventually someday when someone will start building something, we'll go and we'll also build our dream home. But then they interact with each other. We have had events where where we invited people for a stay for a couple of days. This was in Ratnagiri, in Ratnagiri district. It was a 2-day event. We had a very beautiful turnover of people, and they interacted with each other. People who were not convinced. So the good part was my sales team's job was reduced significantly, because I saw someone who's come there as a customer. He's convincing the other person that I am buying. You should
Wow.
also buy,
Yeah.
because I find this beautiful. And so they interacted with each other. They found some common grounds between themselves, and they bonded over it, and they convinced each other that let's buy this together. And that's, I think, one of the big differences we've seen. We had a musical night there, complete strangers coming together, celebrating, like people dancing with each other. So it was something that's something has been driving me, that we want to build active communities. We just don't want to sell for the sake of selling. It's to build communities where people will come together and and see a life that they probably do not see in the cities.
Wonderful. And I mean, when you sell this, is there something else also you do to continue building this community?
Yeah, we do. So in most of the projects typically lots, it's very difficult because there's not enough people to come in. But whenever we've sold villa communities, we have actually got people to come there once in a while, have some, some kind of small musical nights. Or so we once did a kite festival in one of our projects where we invited people. This was during the month, during the period of Sankranti. So yeah, we do this kind of events. We invite people together once in a while. Again, because that is something that gets people to interact, understand, and then it is beneficial to us also, because at the end of the day I want to make sure that communities, people that talk to each other, they bring more business. That's how we have been functional.
The trust and references works for each other. So we've talked some really good things about, decor spaces, and as a founder, what you have been doing and how your vision or value drives this whole process. But tell us, during early days, when you started this whole idea, what were the real challenges that you faced?
Many challenges. See, like I said, we have this model where so even before that, the first challenge I would say was to understand this industry, right? We are speaking of, there are so many factors, land, legally, what are the factors that are crucial when you're looking to buy land, technicalities of it, location wise, what things need to be looked after, what are the regulations in a particular land zone, that which land can be bought, which cannot be bought. So many such factors that needed to be understood. That, I think, was the first challenge for me. Secondly, it was that, like you said, there are many big brands in this space. We are a relatively new person in that space, and we are trying to connect people over online presentations, explain them and bring value to them about what we are trying to offer, and then convince them to come and join us for open house events. So this itself is the biggest challenge, because people have this resistance to sales. Everybody, even you, would probably feel that okay, I like this, but I'm not sure if I really want to put my money onto it.
Right.
So that's something which we had to really work hard on overcoming. Even today we are working on that, because I think traditionally we Indians feel that a brand is to be trusted. A new name or anybody who is trying to do something new is something which you should be which everyone is by default a little bit skeptical.
Yeah.
So that challenge is something which we are still overcoming. There have been cases where I know we've planned for something huge, but there was not enough people who eventually turned up. There has been one project where we had people come up. We did the open house event, but we didn't sell a single plot that day. And it was we who didn't sell, not the customers who didn't buy, because on the day of that open house, there was some legal related challenge that was brought up to me by a person who was involved in the project. And he told me that there's something that you should know before we sell this, which made me feel that, I'm not comfortable selling to my customers because of that one point. And we informed to everybody who joined us to the open house that if you are interested in this, we will get back to you. We will let you know once we get a clarity on the legal aspect. But today I don't want any of you to book anything. So this kind of incidences have happened where we've spent a lot of money and efforts and time, but at the end of the day, to me, it was important that nothing comes more before the customer's sense of security, because 100 good reviews can mean nothing if there's one bad experience. So,
Yeah. And I think, this is Indian mindset that you mentioned about this also, because the kind of government rules and regulations, they're so easily moldable at times as per the convenience for especially the bigger players. And, people invest their hard-earned money on the properties and the developers have disappeared.
True.
The projects have been committed despite of RERA approval for 2 years, 3 years, but it's still going for five years and there is no say.
I'll tell you a surprising thing. Many people do not even know that RERA is applicable to land and plots as well.
Yes, it is.
So many people don't know that. Many people do not understand a primary difference between a farmland and any plot. What is farmland? What is any plot? Like you said, the regulations in our country, or rather in general, I would say the education about this regulation is at such a low level that there's that fear. I mean, if I don't know something, I would rather stay away from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's psychologically that, if something you're not aware of, you don't want to take a risk, you rather not get into it.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I'm just asking this question a little as an individual. I see these, not naming the brands, but these people who, sell the plot and the properties, like the second home idea, they have the certain rules of, that, they will give the property or the villa in 2 years, 3 years. If they've not done, they have their XYZ reasons, but there are no clause if they don't deliver it. But when it comes to the renting part of it, they have certain, again, they will have no clause because they have to pay money.
Yeah.
But when it comes to taking something from the customer, they have the laws which are very stringent. How as an individual can deal with this real estate developers?
See, I think it's very important today, and this I'm telling you because I've also been part of a system where we've been training brokers about RERA. This was an initiative taken by RERA, which again very few people know, that brokers need license these days. A broker cannot operate without a RERA license, and to obtain that license he has to give an exam for which he has to get trained. And I've been one of the trainers to train more than 2,000 brokers over the last 1 and 2 years. So in that, we've explained it to many brokers to get this information to customers. If an agreement is lopsided, there's a model agreement on RERA that a developer has to follow. That model agreement clearly states what are the clauses regarding delay, what are the options for a customer if there is delay in possession, if the developer is not delivering what he has promised. Many factors. I mean, if you just go through RERA, I don't think you would have to have any other factor or anyone else would have to help you to get resolved on the challenges that you mentioned. The problem is we customers do not have this awareness what RERA is giving you. If you see, since RERA came in picture, more than, I think what I last read, 25,000 plus cases were resolved in last 4 or 5 years since RERA is in picture. 25,000 cases resolved within a timeline of 60 days. That's a big number because, if you think of it, if that cases were going to court, it would not be resolved for 10, 15, 20 years. There have been cases in RERA where developers have been made to pay penalties. They've been made to pay interest because of the delay in possession. All of this has happened. The sad part is these news do not reach to the customers, or there are people, again, without having to name anybody, there are big players who would never let these kind of news come out in the market. They'll pay their penalties, then they'll move on, and without letting anybody even get a sniff of what all has happened. But as a consumer, it is very important for me to understand RERA, understand the people that I'm buying from and how much they are deviating from what RERA is asking them to do. If the deviations are way too high, I should not even be involved in it.
So, again, we talk a lot of mindset and challenges related questions also in the podcast, because that's where our listeners come from. And we would like them to know about, as an entrepreneur journey, 6 years looks beautiful at 6th year level, but there's a lot of challenges that an entrepreneur go. It's like it's easy to start a business, but it's a lone car that you're riding for, maybe 4 years, 5 years till you actually, a success in an entrepreneurship journey starts to show after 4 years.
In fact, I don't think it ever shows up. You never stop feeling that you're successful.
That is also true because you always have the next goal and the next goal. But I think there are certain results which kinds of start popping out after, fourth year, which me as an entrepreneur would say, and that's what the result says. Uh, Tell us a little bit more about how did you deal with your challenges in those journey, and what was the mindset that were you carrying constantly to keep going and going?
So, like you said, yeah, it's a very lonely journey. I remember when we started, I used to see my friends going out on weekends and they used to, holidays, vacations, whereas I'm working and I'm just trying to build something for myself. And I have written a answer on Quora on this long back that, someone had asked a question that what is entrepreneurship like? And I think that is one of the answers that has gotten highest upvotes to me because of the way that I had written it. That yes, it is one of the loneliest journey that a person can take, but also I feel it is one of the most beautiful journey of self-exploration that a person goes through, because after a certain point of time, there's no fear of anything. I mean, today I have no fear if what will I do if if this thing doesn't work out. I just know that if this doesn't work out, I'll find something else to do. There's no fear of how I will live my life or what will happen to my family, or where will the next uh, source of income come from. Entrepreneurship is, I think, somewhat like walking in the dark at night. It's very scary to start with, but after a little while, you will see suddenly there's light from so many different sources that you've not even identified, and they will just keep guiding you ahead. You don't have to worry where I'm heading because the path is being built by you. You are not exploring or trying to find a path. You're actually building, which a lot of people are going to follow behind you.
It's like keep walking and you will reach somewhere. Interesting. Has, a lot of time in entrepreneurship, in partnership, people fail, people betray. Have you been through anything such?
Fortunately, I think we have the best of understanding between us co-founders. Like the three of us are, I think we are saying that we are brothers is an understatement. We are so close with each other. And we've been together years before we started this one. We've been friends since college days, and each of us we know each other's families so well. We have.
So how do you build such a strong partnership? Because it's like a marriage. A business
Exactly.
partnership
So
is like a
that's
marriage.
precisely how you have put it. There are going to be conflicts, like in a marriage. There are conflicts, but at the end of the day, what matters the most is that you have to understand that we all have each other's best interest in our mind. In a marriage, your spouse is not going to have an argument with you because they want you to fail or they want something bad for you. In a marriage, if there's an argument, typically it is because there are certain expectations from each other and they are not being fulfilled. And it's the same in I think in a partnership where there are expectations from each other, and you just have to be very good at communicating them. You just have to understand and draw lines as to what each person is responsible for. And if at all there is something that is, that is on your mind, that this is something that I'm not appreciating, or this is not something I'm not comfortable with, the best thing to do is talk it out.
Yeah.
I think that has been the most essential thing for us, that we've had our ups and downs, but we've never had a reason to not want to be working with each other.
I think there are two aspects to a leadership communication, which I take this as a leadership, is one, knowing the art of crucial conversation.
Exactly.
Because these are hard conversation and you can only succeed by communicating it.
Exactly.
And like you mentioned about the intent, right? It's in the best interest. So if you have a right intent, any crucial conversation or a tough conversation will fall in the right direction.
True.
So this, I believe, whether it's a relationship, it's a business, or it's a leader, addressing the larger team, because
Exactly, yeah.
they're going to be listening to you, they're going to be following to you. A crucial conversation is an important part of it.
In fact, that's what we do. Even when we hire new people on the day one of induction, we have that's something I address to people, and that's what I try to tell them, that, while we are working in an organization, we don't call it a family culture. We call it a sports culture, where we are a team. We have to work together. We have to achieve certain goals together. But at the end of the day, we have to all be very tight with each other. And that's the same thing that whole speech came from what we have been achieving. What the co-founders, all three of us, have had between us, that we are a team that has to, achieve the results together. We have to work together, but also be, very tight with each other. Otherwise, even if one of us falls apart, this whole structure or the whole company falls apart.
So in your this journey, tell us a turning point wherein you felt that everything has started to shift.
I think it was a couple of years back. It was one of the projects where I was going to address a group of customers, and the night before that, we were at that stage that if this event doesn't go through properly, we will just quit the company and end it, and find our ways.
And you invested how many years before you reached that point?
Almost 4.5, 5 years, 4 years at least.
Let's say after 4 years, you still were at a point where you felt if this doesn't go well, you might just quit and shut the whole business.
I think that keeps happening after every few years. That's how a business works, I feel. But yeah, at that point, it was genuinely like that. We had this conversation between ourselves that if this doesn't go the way we have planned, we'll just shut and move on with our lives. And the next day, when I was there on the stage and I was talking to addressing these people, I don't know what happened or where that came from. I completely deviated from the speech that I was supposed to give, the presentation that I was to talk about. I just went on an emotional rant in front of all the people. Somehow that worked, and something clicked, and the event became even better than what we had anticipated for. So I think that is when I realized that that our biggest power has been to reach or to build a connection with people emotionally, rather than trying to go through the whole typical sales presentations and try to sell anything. We have understood, or I have understood personally, that my relation with my customer has to be on an emotional basis. If that happens, people, and Indian people are very emotional. Indian people understand sentiments. Indian people buy into sentiments. Like you said, an advertisement talks, ads are not about selling products. Those are about emotions. I feel it is about connecting the right sentiment of the buyer. And if you do that, that's one thing that has, completely changed gears for our company. We've been very different company since this small approach has been incorporated in our system.
Wow. So that is the point that you realize that selling through emotion would work wonders?
Yeah, I would not say selling through emotions. Rather, I would say connecting with people through emotions.
Connecting with people through emotion. And was that again like a gathering where you were supposed to sell your... So that day, how did you realize that the sales went up or something?
So that was day zero of one of our projects, when we were supposed to launch any project. And we had a certain target to achieve in terms of number of inventories to be sold. We ended up selling twice of what we had targeted. We had to open up new inventory which we had not even planned to sell for the next 6 months. We had to open that up and sell it off. So it not only, we didn't just say more number of sales. We saw this single person who came to buy one plot ended up buying 2 plots. A lot of such people who ended up feeling that whatever I was talking made so much sense, or rather it meant so much to them, that they felt these are the kind of people that actually we want to be associated with.
So briefly tell us about that speech, briefly.
Been a long time, so I wouldn't be able to remember much. But
how did you connect with
it? It was
people?
mainly about I remember talking about when I wanted to when I bought a plot, the thought was the essential thought behind that was, I don't want to just build a home, stay. A home to me is not just a place where I'm going to stay. To me, it was my mother loves gardening, and that plot is where she's going to plant some trees, and she's going to do her gardening and do a lot of her stuff that she loves to do. Today, she's doing it in a flat, small balcony, but buying that land means she'll have the space to do that. I'll have my kid drive his bicycle all around. I'll have my dog footprints on the slabs that we are going to cast. So I have in my house, we have made one small concrete slab where we have footprints of all of the family members, including my dog. And I know he's not going to be with us in the few years to come. I know my parents are not going to be around with me forever. I know my kids are going to grow up and move away someday. But all of these things that that we are building in my home are going to be there for years to come. It's going to be my grandchildren who are going to probably eat the fruits that my mother has planted. They may never get to meet her, but they will still know that where this comes from. So this is all that I spoke about in that presentation. Why you should be buying land. It is not because it will appreciate 10x, or this is going to grow, this is going to happen. I think it is because it gives you memories, it gives you a story of a life that probably can only be seen through generations, one after the another. And a home that has, if I'm building a home and putting my mother and father's name on it, it's going to be there 100 years from now. That's something that meant a lot to me. And I think that's what I spoke about primarily during that speech. And that's what most of the people felt connected with.
Yeah. So again, when we talk about human as a psychologically, there are some unsaid, unrecognized pains that we have. And I think you hit the nail in your speech and you connected with people in the right way, because पैसे तो मार्केट में भी डाल के बढ़ सकते हैं, म्यूचुअल फंड में भी इवेंचुअली बढ़ जाएंगे. So this is, money looks as a superficial factor, but the deep down we are all connected as humans. We all want emotion, we want visuals to see, I think, and you created that entire experience. So I think this is a great sales pitch. It's good for people who are listening us to also learn from this. Let's talk about the technology, how you merge technology with real estate selling product, right? Sorry. From virtual tours to refundable expression of interest, which is your EOI form, I think, which I've never seen before in a real estate, people expressing their interest in a through a form where they would want to see a project or experience a project. So how did this hybrid click and brick model help you build this empire that you are into today?
So this happened because I think we saw this happen in primary residential real estate a lot, where a lot of people used to do these EOIs and visit the developer's office on the day of launch, go ahead and buy inventories. But I didn't see anybody doing it for second homes, and I feel that is more important. So I saw a lot of people trying to use VRs and this virtual reality 3D models, all of that for flats, which I felt a person can actually walk and see the sample flat, because I live in it. The property that I'm going to see is 15 minutes from my home. But for a second home, it's 2 hours, 3 hours away from where I'm staying. And it's very difficult for me to just drive down and, have a look. So the VR actually made more sense to me when it came to second home, because we wanted to give a complete, experience of what the place looks and feels like. And doing that online meant I could connect with a larger audience, because I know if I had to reach out to 100 people and bring them to project site 3 years away from the city, it would be very difficult. But I can connect with a person online over Google, Zoom, and multiple platforms at any point of time and whenever he is convenient. We've connected with people when they're traveling from one place to another. I've connected VCs when a certain group of people were waiting for their flight on the airport. So it's very easy for the people, for the customer also, to understand the project on their first instance, whether this is something that makes interest to me. And then once someone feels that, okay, this is something that meets my expectations, we go ahead and ask them to make an online EOI expression of interest, because if I'm interacting with, say, 100 people, I need to know how many people are actually going to be there for the open house event that we are planning. Because then accordingly, we can plan the event properly. We can understand not every project is meant for every person. Someone may feel that, the location is not working for me. For someone, the price may not work. For someone, it may not be just the right time for investment. But for those of the customers, it is the right, mix of what they're looking at. It becomes easy for us to identify, these are the people that we want to invite for the open house, and then plan it accordingly. So this hybrid is, and then when they're there on the site, then we create complete environment for them. We take them to each and every plot. They can stand there, have a look at the, east, west, north, south, what views they can expect, what infrastructure has been built, everything. So, we have developers, like the landowners and the developer actually there on the site. So you want to understand what his vision is, you can just go and talk to him. You want to talk to an architect. So we have architects, bankers, contractors on the site on the day of open house to talk to and understand, what kind of house I can build on this land. What would be the cost of building a house on?
So people are open to, kind of build their property, or you give them a customized property?
It's customized in most of the cases. Unless, when we are selling a villa itself. So sometimes there are some projects where we are selling the end product, which is a built house. In that case, the customization is in landscaping, the customization in the interiors. The external look of the property remains this.
Okay. Tell us about how your leadership style has evolved over the period of time from, selling one project to scaling to 25, 50, 500 today, right? So how has your leadership style changed?
I like to believe that I have evolved as a leader in the sense of now having much more experience of what basic need of our team, is, and this I'm talking about leadership from the perspective of my internal team. We've seen our team go from like 3 of us to 25 to back to 3. We had to literally let go all of our team members because of certain instances, and then from scratch build a team again.
Rebuild a team.
So yeah, I've seen that struggles of leadership is a lot like parenting, I feel, where there are times when you have to be the disciplined father, there are times when you have to be like the like a mother, you have to be like an elder brother. So all the relations that you see in a family, I've learned that leadership is all about being a different person for a different team member, and eventually getting them all together to work like a team that I mentioned. We've always been a sports team, and I look at myself as a manager who's sitting on the fence and getting each of them to be the best of their own version.
I think sports is a great analogy or a metaphor that you've put forward for your organization and the way you run your team culture. What are the various mindset shifts that you keep carrying over the period of time with different challenges and with different successes also coming in?
So whenever there's a successful event, I think that's a lot of my people close to me say that I'm a very toxic person in that sense, because I have never been able to feel the joy of anything that has been successful in terms of what we set out to achieve, because my mind is always that, okay, we've achieved this, but let's move to the next thing that we want to achieve. So success has never been, to me, like I said sometime back also, that success is never something you achieve. It is always going to the benchmark keeps moving ahead. As for the challenges, or whenever we've seen struggles, I think it has been at least that's the way I look at it, that I feel it has to be internal. Everybody understands that challenges are going to be there when we want to achieve something, but how you respond to them, how composed you are, what kind of what problems are there, and if it is, I feel there's this theory that I follow. I don't know where I'd read that, but I have this theory that I follow, which says, look at if there's a problem or a challenge, ask if you can solve it. If you can solve it, don't worry. If you cannot solve it, then also there's no point in worrying about it. So in either case, why you worry? That's the way I've always approached all the challenges that I've seen recently.
Interesting. Now let's go back to again, the real estate part of it. When somebody is in a dilemma of buying the second house, whether one should go for a flat, go for a plot, or just maybe invest in a farmland, how should they really take the second home approach?
So I think okay, let's break it in the 3 sequence that you mentioned. If someone thinks I'm looking to buy a flat, it should be purely out of need, not as an investment. It's at least not in the today's day and time, because like you mentioned, the property prices are so out of reach for a person that unless it is a need that you want to live there for the next 15-20, you're committed to live there for the next 15-20 years, and you don't have any intentions to move to any other city or any other place, you don't have any other house, then of course you should definitely buy a flat first, because that's your primary need. If that is not the case, if you already have your parents' house, if you already have a flat in a city, and if you're looking for another investment into real estate, ideally I think the best thing you can do is invest in a gated community villa plot, because one, it is much affordable. You will find at a much lesser price compared to a flat in a city. Two, you're investing in the future. When the word investment itself means future, you cannot be looking at investment and then say, what will be the price in 1 or 2 years. We're looking at least 5, 7, 10 years in the future, which means land is going to give you exponential returns, even if you buy it in EMIs. A lot of people talk to me that, is it really even sensible to buy a piece of plot in EMI? But I would say that, if you're buying a car, which is a depreciating asset, you don't think twice about taking it on EMIs. Whereas if you're buying a plot, which is an appreciating asset, which is going to give you phenomenal returns in years, why can't you look at, the EMI as an SIP? If you look at it as an SIP, you will see your initial capital can give you 10x returns in, just 6 to 7 years.
So it's almost like, flat has an appreciation, but it has a ceiling.
Yeah.
Land has an appreciation, but it has no horizons. You can go with leaps
In
and
fact,
bounds in
even
it.
for the appreciation that you speak
Hmm.
on flat is
Hmm.
primarily the land on which the flat is.
Flat is there, right?
Because the flat
Yeah.
itself is depreciating. The
Yeah.
construction, the building is a depreciating asset. The land is
Absolutely.
what is appreciating even in the flats.
Yeah, yeah. So and you don't own it. You don't own the land at
Exactly.
all. Here, the beauty is that you own the land and you can just go with leaps and bounds. For the entire plot is all yours. You can keep building and rebuilding and revamping and doing things. Beautiful. So, initially we spoke about, a lady building her second home at the age of 60. I'm actually trying to understand what is actually the right age. Is it 60 or somebody can even start planning second home in 30s and 40s as well?
So when I mentioned you about that story about that pitch or the speech that I gave during one of our events, this is something I had mentioned, that I personally feel the best age to buy your second home plot is when you are in your late 30s and early 40s. And the reason I say that is because, it's an age when your parents still have the energy to enjoy that place. Your kids are too small, so their entire childhood memories can be built at that place. And you yourself have the, ambition to actually achieve something. You'll have another 15, 20 years worth of life to, remember when you are at the age of retirement.
Yeah.
So I think the best age, according to me, is late 30s and early 40s.
So it's like consciously designing your second life or second home where you can relive everything which you are missing in the hustle of.
Yeah. And also because it will give you it gives you a property that you can rent out and, get, earn from Airbnb and actually use that money to travel around the world. That's a secondary passive income that is going to come from your home. So when you're in your late 30s and 40s is the time when you should start planning for a passive income because, that is when another 10, 15 years you're targeting to retire. So you should start building passive income streams for your retirement. So this is again a reason I feel that by the time you're going to retire, the house is going to earn money from you, for you. And then when you're reaching your late 50s and 60s, you can then go and peacefully settle at that place, which is like an ancestral home for your next generations.
So just, connecting to what you've just said, बहुत लोगों के लिए ना, second home is a pure luxury. How can they start seeing this more differently and, plan to invest? Because I personally believe, like you said, late 30s, early 40s is an absolutely right time because where you can live a memory, create a memory with your child and also create a memory with your parents when they're almost done about to, take that break from everything and they want to just go gardening or go meditating, do nothing, build, be with their own age group of people. And now, again, that's not the time where you can expect your grandparents, my parents, to take care of my kids. That's not a culture left anymore that, grandparents are taking care of their kids. So in this case, how, people who are into corporates, I'm precisely talking about corporates because people maybe into an entrepreneur journey may still have that potential eventually to buy. But in corporate, people have a very different mindset towards investment.
Yeah.
So just help us understand this better in a way that this can open an avenue of, investing in second home.
So like I said, corporates, if I speak strictly of corporates, in fact, in our journey, I think 60 to 70% of our customers have been corporates and much less of entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Is because, like I mentioned, I talk about investment in real estate from financial as well as lifestyle aspect. While corporates understand the lifestyle need, finances is what something most of the times people miss out. They feel, I don't have so much savings. I don't have so much liquidity to actually end up or build something like this today. And that's when I explain that, you need to leverage debt to build this kind of an asset rather than, putting apart your savings or every month doing the same kind of investments that you're already doing. It's an alternate investment that you can create. It will not only, give you the lifestyle exit, but will also give you an option to earn from it by renting it out on Airbnb.
Yeah, so for the salaried people, this is even better because this is a passive income generation in comparison.
In fact, salaried people have the time also to go and enjoy this.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs do not have the time.
They don't have Sundays.
Exactly. So
Agree. So you've been very vocal about Mumbai-Pune corridor becoming India's most exciting real estate story. What's driving that?
Okay, so quickly, I'll just, this is something I talk a lot about during my presentations and webinars. if you look at Mumbai and Pune, these are, I think, in the entire country, these are the only two metros which are just so close to each other. And both of them are, large metros. We are not speaking of
Yeah.
tier 1, tier 2. Mumbai is the
Yeah.
financial capital.
Hmm.
Pune is the educational hub as well as a big
IT.
IT destination.
Right.
And the corridor if you've seen the last 10,
Short.
15 years,
Yeah.
it has just been squeezing and
Yes.
squeezing. Mumbai has reached out to Panvel and now
Yes.
beyond. We are speaking of Mumbai 3.0,
Yes.
which is Navi Mumbai International Airport,
Yes.
which is
It's
Naina,
all there.
everything. So
Yeah.
it's almost all the way till
Mm.
Khopoli. In fact,
Mm.
I recently read a report by Colliers, and they've mentioned that Khopoli is a market in the country which is poised to give 4x returns in just next 5 years with the kind of development that is happening in this region. Similarly, from Pune side, if we see, a lot of development is happening towards Mumbai. If we see the Mumbai-Pune Expressway, there's the Missing Link project, which is going to reduce the time from Pune to Navi Mumbai. You can reach within 1 hour from Pune to Mumbai now. You have the Pune Ring Road coming up, which is going to connect the eastern part of Pune to west within half an hour. So these kind of developments, and even in Pune, the IT hub is primarily towards the western side of Pune. The manufacturing hub is towards the north, and Mumbai is northwest. So when we look at that geography, it's the perfect alignment of these two cities, that this entire belt, right from Panvel till on in Pune side, there's a place called Rawit, which is the entry of Pune from the northwest side. This entire region is the Mumbai-Pune Expressway, and we have Khopoli, we have Pali, we have Lonavala, Karjat, we have Talegaon, Urse, all of these places which are markets where there are lots of big developers. I'm not sure if you've heard, but there are townships along this project. There are along this corridor. Developers like Hiranandani and Lodha and Godrej and all of them are there in this location because this is the future. So I think I've always said this in the past, that if you look back in history, wherever there has been an airport, the region around it has
Created wealth.
created wealth.
Yeah.
Here we are seeing not just one airport, we are seeing an entire city around that airport. We are looking at Mumbai 3.0. I think we are a generation that is poised for some unprecedented event where we are going to see a big city being built from scratch. And today is the opportunity to actually be in that market. Even if you buy a small plot of 1,000-1,500 square feet in that region, whatever your budget permits, it is going to give you phenomenal returns in the next 6, 7, 10 years at best.
So let's then, since you're here with such a vast knowledge and research in the real estate, tell us which are the 3 places, not only, Mumbai, Pune, but overall in India, that somebody could invest, which could yield them a great result in next 5 years.
So one, I already mentioned, Mumbai-Pune corridor. The other, I think is, that's Hyderabad as a city has seen phenomenal, boom in terms of the industrial growth and everything. So in general, I've read a lot about Hyderabad being a very good destination to invest in for the future. And I think the third one is very debatable because it depends on which part of the country you're coming from, what kind of investment you're looking at. If your intention is purely financials, I think any city wherever you're living, the periphery of that is going to give you good appreciation. And that's the easiest way to invest. You stay there, you can invest nearby. We've seen Goa, for example, the property prices in Goa from 2021 to 2024 are 3 to 4x already. People who invested in 21, I know someone who bought a villa in Goa for 2.1 CR. Today that villa is available at 7.5 CR. So the timing is very crucial, and it keeps changing from time to time because as the needs change the markets evolve, automatically the prices boost. In this region, I would say around us, Alibag is one destination that is now going to be crazy because of the kind of developments that are going to happen there in the next 5 years. Khopoli Pali region is one very important, in fact, I would say entire Raigad district as a whole is very, anywhere you'll not go wrong with your investment anywhere in Raigad because the whole district is going to change in the next few years. And the third, I would say, is around Pune Ring Road. If you can find something, that I think is the best place to invest.
So talking about investment, tell us, if somebody would want to invest through decor spaces, what is the investment range that starts from?
As minimum as 25 lakhs.
Oh, wow.
And depending on what your need is, what kind of property we are looking, we have, if we are speaking of strictly just plotted communities, we have investment starting from 25 lakhs, very beautiful hilltop like it's a private hill station, something similar to what Lonavala or Mathiran is, but much, much less crowded. It's a very beautiful place. We have, I mean, in monsoons, you're covered in clouds. You have valleys from three sides. You have river streams, waterfalls, everything is there. And we have plots starting at 25 lakhs there for your perfect ideal, weekend home. It's a built community with all the infrastructure already in place. So that's the minimum that we are looking at when we say investment. And just hardly 2 hours from Mumbai and Pune, both the cities. So very well connected as well. And of course, depending on if you're looking for something which is just around on the outskirts of Pune or Mumbai, you have something which is, the typically around 75, 80 lakhs up to 1 CR.
So tell us your perspective on people who are planning to, invest in a land. Will it be a great idea to take it on an EMI, or should having a, good volume of money to invest in a land?
Like I said, I am someone who believes you should always leverage debt. Even if you have liquidity in hand, it's better to leverage debt, is because to build that liquidity, it may take years. Debt is available in days these days. If you just go to a bank, they'll give you a loan within a couple of days. And paying that interest is a very small amount compared to the kind of, to that liquidity that you're going to
and that you built for so many years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, it's all about perspective. If you look at it from an SIP perspective, your return on investment. So just to give you numbers or a basic calculation, a plot, if you're buying a plot of say 40 lakhs, you put up 10 lakhs as your own contribution, take a 30 lakhs loan. In let's say 5 years, the price only doubles. I'm not even saying like 3x, 4x. Even if the price just doubles, your value of the land is today 80 lakhs. You've paid interest in 5 years, you'll be paying interest of say 10, 15 lakhs, not more than that. You've paid an upfront capital of 10 lakhs. So you've only invested 25 lakhs from your pocket, but the value of land today is around 80 lakhs. So, debt can give you 3 to 4x returns, and that is the leverage of debt that always helps.
And you were mentioning about this, your hilltop project. What makes somebody, invest in that kind of a property?
I think just being in that place. I have seen people who have been shy, like, they'll be like, okay, we'll come, we'll see, we'll explore. But the moment someone steps there, walks in, and, the way that place has been, if you come in at the right time, especially this was like the whole monsoon season, anybody who came there, just standing on the plot made them feel like, yeah, this is the place where so we have cliffside villas there. We have hilltop land, which is facing Sarasgarh, which is one of the iconic forts in Maharashtra. We have towards the east, you get to see mountains covered in clouds with waterfall coming down. So it literally feels like there's, waterfall directly from heaven. That kind of views you get over there. So yeah, I know the place itself is so beautiful that nothing else. I mean, there are so many things that we've done. We've built infrastructure. There's dedicated water line. We have clubhouse, swimming pool, amenities, infrastructure. Everything is in place. But the place itself is such that you would want to be, this is where I want to make my house.
You also build ready villas. So who are these designed for?
So there are some people who, I don't know if you've heard of this. There's some term called as branded residences that has been going on a lot lately. So there are a lot of people who don't want to, they don't have the time and energy to actually buy a land, then go to an architect, design, build and all of. For them, it is like, give me the finished product, but I want a house, I want a villa. I don't have the time to build it nor to manage it. So that's where we are, we are exploring, and rather we are just on the verge of starting a project where we want to do branded residences managed by a resort. There are 2 such projects that we are working on. One would be in the coastal town of Dapoli, where we are doing sea-facing duplex penthouse villas. And the other one is around Pune, just around the ring road of Pune, where we have lake touch villas again. Both of them branded residences, completely managed end product.
Wow. I think Dapoli is one of beautiful place where, even I think there's an MTDC project just right attached to Dapoli beach. It is so beautiful. And having this pre-designed villas built as per and customized as per your likes would be an amazing experience for the villa owner.
So in fact, we are very choosy. As a company, I am very choosy when it comes to what location we are going to do a project in. If I get 15, 20 proposals, I choose one out of them. Because I first of all want to be convinced that if I was to buy and build a house here, would I do that? Only after that I actually take up a project. Dapoli is one place where we've done 3 such we've already done 3 projects, because I think you just can't go wrong with that place. There are small villages, and there are I think 11 or 10 beaches along the entire coast of Dapoli. each of the beach has a beautiful view. There's mountains. It's actually called the coastal hill station. Dapoli is known as coastal hill station.
Coastal hill station.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the elevation is, I mean, it's parallel to Mahabaleshwar, but it is also close to the beach. So it's the unique thing about Dapoli is that just immediately next to the beach there's mountains. So all the projects or the residences are all on top of mountain. You won't feel the humidity that we feel in, for example, Mumbai, because of the coast, close to the coast.
Yeah.
Because you feel cool breeze all around any residence that you buy there.
Let's just impart some more knowledge to the listeners. Somebody planning to buy a second home, what are top 3 things that they should be taking care of?
I think the first and foremost is to actually go and see the property, because I think that's a lot of people are missing, or rather they feel that we can buy property online, like just like so many other things we're doing online. There's no harm in buying property online. Quite the contrary, I think I'm still a very orthodox person in that sense, that I feel you should go and see the property, because there could be many factors. Everything could be perfect, but when you walk to the site, you realize that there's a high tension line going from it. Now, it is not bad. It has nothing to do. I mean, it's not like you can't buy a property because of a high tension line, but it is very important.
Can you define this word, high tension line?
High tension is electrical, when we're looking at electrical lines, high tension is one which is coming directly from the source. It's at a high voltage electric current.
Okay.
Again, it's not like there's anything bad about it. It's just an electrical line that is passing, but it's something that you will never understand online. And when you're buying a property, it is very important to know all the aspects about it. You need to know if there's any, if the terrain is plain. If it is too steep, you cannot build a house on it. If there is any, for example, I've seen a project where there was a underground gas line going through the project. Now, what it means is it's a very big risk if if the land has a underground, gas line. There's a intrinsic risk of buying land on it. You may, if you're trying to dig it up for construction or anything, and you may, if it gets damaged, the risk is phenomenal. And this is something which you will not be able to understand unless you actually go and see the land.
But do you think an individual are technically aware of all these aspects?
So that's what I was just going to come to. The second point is who you're buying it from. First thing is to go and see it. Secondly, it is very important to understand who you're buying it from, how transparent they are in terms of information with you. Is that person even qualified to be able to explain you all the nuances of legal, technical, everything? So whatever the questions that you may not even have thought of yourself, that person should be able to give you that information. And we have this process of where we built a checklist of all the things that a person should go through before buying land, irrespective of whether you're buying it with Decor Spaces, with anybody else. That checklist will help you in taking off, okay, these are the factors that I need to be aware of if I'm looking to buy or finalize some land. So
where can someone find this checklist?
We have it online. I think it is somewhere on our website also.
Yeah, what's the link of the website? Do share it with us,
we'll
because
definitely share it.
I think there's something we need to educate all the buyers, whether it's second home, first home. There's so many little nitty-gritties which fall in place. So Karan, recently I came across this idea where, few friends come together and, they buy a land and then they build a villa and then they invest, right, for building more passive income, let's say, or then eventually moving into active income as well. Let's say you were also one of those kind of people. So what do you think about this?
No, in fact, that's something we've seen a lot. We've seen that happen a lot recently. I have had group of friends come together, 4 or 5 people, 8 people come together, buy plots, adjoining plots to each other, with the clear intention that we'll make very small houses on it, nothing very fancy, not a very luxurious villa, small 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom houses, but leave a common backyard between them. And their intention was just, we live in cities, we have grown together. Over the years, all of us moved apart. Someone went to, different countries, had a very successful corporate life. But now we just want to get back and have like a, place where we are a big family, where we can spend time together, where we can retire together and, just explore basic things of life, like, barbecue in your backyard, or just carpentry, or just do things that probably are mundane in our day-to-day life, but doing it together as a group of friends. I have seen people, I've actually been lucky enough to have done such transactions where there are people who have a very clear understanding what their life needs to look like when they're going to retire. And not in just, so unfortunately, most people have planned out their retirement in terms of an income, but not what they're going to do with that income. Whereas this particular group, I was very impressed because of the way they had, very clear ideas to what they're going to do once they retire. Money, of course, they've earned it throughout their life. They've been very successful. They've had successful corporate careers, but after the career, or rather what to do with your life when you want to retire, and you don't want to just live in a city and be around the same noise and chaos that you've lived through for your entire life. So what you want to do after your retirement is what they had already planned for, and that's what they were looking this piece of land for. There is something which just like you mentioned, group of friends coming together, buying a flat or a villa for investment. I think this was a much bigger investment in terms of their lifestyle that they had envisioned much before they planned for anything else. So this is something that I find very fascinating in our generation. Our motto or the tagline of our company is the next gen real estate solutions. And when I say next gen, I'm speaking specifically of the millennials and Gen Z, where we don't just have monetary or financial dreams, but there are very lifestyle aspirations that we need to cater, and that's experience based. And that's why you are seeing this whole, we see a huge bump in the weekend weekend home concept as a whole, right. Even if it is for short-term rentals or for buying or whatever, it's because people are more concerned about what my life needs to look like or what I want to experience from my life, and not just money is one factor that is important, but that's not the only reason for me to live.
You know what? I really love the perspective that you just shared about these people, how they actually envisioned their retirement life. So many years we were only, planning कि इतना पैसा आ जाए या इस उम्र में हम retire करेंगे.
Exactly.
And then, maybe we'll have a cafe, we'll have a home, or we'll do farming. But they actually created that second life, the retirement life. Maybe they might retire after 10 years or 15 years. I think this is a beautiful way to look at life and, plan things likewise rather than just planning the retirement age and money.
And being in the industry or being in that space, I meet so many such people that I think that's now I've started to convey that message to the people that I meet. That's like I just mentioned to you, and I see that you find that very fascinating.
Absolutely.
Every person that I try to reach out to, I want to give this message to them that, don't just plan for your financial retirement, but plan for your actual life after retirement. Or, when you think that I want to retire at 40 and I want to travel the world, eventually you want to come back to home. And that home should not be a home in the city where it's just going to get more polluted and chaotic. Ideally, it should be a home which is going to, when you live in nature, there's this thing which you do not factor in. Your life increases because you're going to be in clean air, clean water, clean food. You don't have to go to hospitals or clinics. A lot of people ask me, when I'm buying a plot here, which is the nearest hospital or nearest doctor. And I tell them that it is, something which is in 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers. But the fact is, when you live here, you won't even have to go there, because you'll be living such a clean life that you don't need to, worry about small illnesses and sickness that we see in the cities. So yeah, I feel plan for retirement in every aspect, not just the financial aspect.
I think you've mastered the art of selling dream life rather than just selling home.
Been there for so long that I think that's how it happens.
Last question, builders dupe, even the well-known dupe. So what are few legal aspects as a common man who doesn't understand anything when it comes to legal and law, but they should be taking care if somebody is whether buying it for staying there, over the weekends, or even just planning to rent it out fully. So what are few legal aspects that they should be always looking at?
So I think the first and foremost, I'll tell you some documents that you need to understand about. First and foremost is the satbara, or the ownership of that land. Whose name is on the satbara. It ideally should be the person you're buying from. There are certain cases where, there's a joint venture where the landowner has given rights to someone else to develop and sell. But in such a case, if you're if you're buying land in a joint venture from someone else, they need to, provide you with the document that entitles them to sell this land. So the satbara is the first record of the landowner. Secondly, there's something called as the title search report, where you verify the land's transactions over the years, where, 30, 50, 70-year-old records can be found in government offices and fetched to understand the how that land has moved from one person to another to the person till the point who's owning it today. What this does is it gives you a complete trail of all the people who were involved in this land, so that in future nobody should come and say that I had never given this, I had never sold this land in the first place. So it's very important for you to understand the trail of that land. Third thing, once you've verified satbara and title search report, I think rest of, depending on whether we are looking, so I'm speaking strictly of, let's say, gated communities of villa plots. We are looking at the sanctioned plan layout. We are looking at the collector's NA order. We are looking at RERA certificate for any gated community. So these are some typical documents which cover the rest of the things. So when I say NA order, it will already take care of your environmental clearance. It will take care of your water and electricity provision, NOCs, everything. So that's why gated communities are more important. Again, I would say is because in fact, not even half, 90% of your job is already done by the developer when he is seeking all these permissions. And then the only thing that remains is the title verification.
Okay. And this title verification comes, how do somebody find this title verification?
Most of the cases, the developer themselves will provide you the title certificate. Even if they are not providing it, or if someone says that I can give you the documents, you can verify it on your own. In such a case, you can appoint a lawyer, consult a lawyer, and they can give you all they can do the job on behalf of you. But in every case that I have seen, the developer themselves will provide you the title certificate, because you have to upload that on RERA again.
Okay, wonderful. I think that was a great conversation, Karan. As an individual, I got an immense knowledge from this conversation, learned your sales technique as well, and learned a lot about the core spaces in terms of the kind of villa, the projects that you sell. You actually don't sell projects, you sell dreams, and it's beautiful to know that.
Thanks.
So thanks for being here. Thanks for giving us your valuable time, and we look forward to having more work together.
Definitely.
It's a great conversation, Karan. I really enjoyed this conversation, really learned a lot. And, as a person who has already invested in a second home, got to understand a lot of aspects when, you're dealing with the developer as well. So I think it's an interesting podcast interview conversation. Every individual aspirant who has not even imagined, but can start imagining now to have a second home with friends or as an individual. So, and Decor Spaces is one such place where the budget starts from 25 lakh to maybe 1 crore and plus. So wonderful. Thank you for, being part of this conversation.
Thanks, Sneha. Thanks, Avad.